ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Kitchen Table Wargaming Battle Report. Today, we're going to have the Succubus, the Drukhari, the Fun. I've tweaked the list from the previous game, so if you're watching these in any kind of order, some of this will be familiar. And I'm playing against some, I almost said salamanders.
Oh, you can't do that. It's just
Sorry.
a tripod.
Look, it's Jared. Jared plays the salamanders and loves them, but he brought his blood angels today, so I just associate... Sorry. Yep, there we go. Blood angels. I apologize. You'll see the list in just a second. Here we have the mighty blood angels, and look, see, this is why we borrowed from salamanders, okay? And I was laughing with Jared. I have his contact saved as Jared with salamanders, so in my head it just instantly said that, even though I was looking at a red guy. My bad. So here we go. We've got Mephiston over here. We've got the Sanguinary Priest. I knew it started with an S. We have a Librarian this time. This is going to be new addition, at least for me, to play against. Librarian, does he have a Relic or Warlord trait?
He does. He has Tome of Malcolmore, which lets him grab one spell from a different discipline. So he's got Wings Sanguinius, Null Zone, and Veil of Time. Plus, he's got the...
Jump Pack, and does he have a Relic?
He's got the Warlord trait.
He's
got the Warlord trait that is... it's the one that lets you reroll hits, reroll a wound, and reroll a save.
Future Sight?
Like Gift I forget what it's
Foresight.
called. Gift of...
Yep. And then this guy's actually the Warlord, Chapter Master.
Chapter Master Captain with Jump Pack
Teeth of Terror.
Teeth of Terror. Yep. So his Warlord trait is Imperium Sword. So he's getting 9 attacks on the charge, Strength 6, AP 2, do 2 damage each.
Will be beautiful. Will be beautiful. Then we've got your good old-fashioned intercessors. There's only 5 of those guys today.
Mm-hmm.
We got 4 Blade Guard. They're looking very snazzy. Saw pictures of them. They are beautiful. Then we got some they have grab cannons. Devastators.
There we
grab
go.
cannons. And then Lieutenant back there. And there is a cherub, you said.
Not Lieutenant. Sergeant. He hadn't made that promotion.
Sergeant. Yes, right. See, I don't play these guys. I don't get, my Grey Knights don't get cool, additions. But there is a cherub with that.
There's a cherub with that unit.
It's just that unit. Okay.
It's in spirit only because I forgot it.
So we know the fat baby with wings. It flies around. It does its thing. The drop pod obviously is going to have those fun people in it. Then we also have an Impulsor.
And he's a DACA Impulsor.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's loaded out. These are WYSIWYGs, so it's what you see is what you get there. Got the Redemptor. Yay. Got the Contemptor with the double Volkite. Extra yay. This is going to be a fun list. That's all I got to say. We got some Eradicators here. There's one Melta, and then the 2...
It's one Multi-Melta.
One Multi-Melta.
And then 2 of the Heavy Meltas.
I get those mixed up. All I know is I don't like these guys. 2 squads of Sanguinary Guard. They are as they appear. You get 2 axes and then 4 swords in each one. And we got some Death Company right here up in the front. A couple of Thunderhammers and then some swords. So I like this list. It's got some good flavor, some good Blood Angels things and shenanigans, and it should be a lot of fun to see this play out. So it's an Outrider and a Patrol. So thank goodness he's starting with less CP than sometimes you might. Then maybe that'll help me out. So this will be a lot of fun. We'll be smashing each other real fast, and everything's going to be across the board real quick. It's going to be one of those games, kind of like the last game against the Death Guard, where everything was in everybody's face as of the bottom of turn 1, and then from there it was just a bloodbath. So lots of fun. Blood Angels should be real happy. We'll take a look at the Drukhari list next. Alright, so here we have the Drukhari. I modified my list, as I mentioned earlier, from yesterday's game. And I'll start with the Cult of Strife. I've got Master Succubus there. She has Blood Dancer, so the exploding 6s to hit for her Warlord trait. She's the Master Succubus, so she can consolidate out of combat 6 inches in any direction. And she is also bearing the Triptych Whip, because it is ridiculous. Then I've got a Succubus that I've paid the points for Dark Lotus. So she has Dark Lotus Toxin, +1 strength, +1 damage on the weapon. And I will give her the +1 strength combat drug. So she'll be a strength 5. And she has the Competitive Edge Warlord trait. So there's a few command points down the tubes there, but they're worth it as long as she doesn't get one-shotted out of a vehicle. I have 10 Blood Brides. I have 5 regular witches. Both squads have an Agonizer and a Blast Pistol on the Hecatrix, and then this Blood Brides, I've got one Razor Flail and one Shardnet in there. I have also a Scourge squad. There are 4 blasters in there. And then the regular dude, the Solarite, has just a Shard Carbine. I've got 2 squads of Mandrakes. Just 5 this time, splitting them up. I tried them as 10 yesterday and it was fun, but I think I get much more utility out of 2 5-man squads. And the last unit in the Cult of Strife, oh sorry, there's 2 more units. I've got Hellions, just 5 of them, and also have 2 Raiders, Chain Snares, Grizzly Trophies, and they also have the Shock Prows because I had 10 points and I couldn't figure out anything else to do with them. So they're going to want to get up in your face, and maybe they will. Who knows? Blood Angels will be coming at me, so it might not be hard. Then I've got Dark Creed. So I've got the Dark Creed, got Homunculus with Fear Incarnate Warlord trait. He's the Master Homunculus, so he gets back up on a 2+, which I forgot yesterday. Shame on me. 2 squads of 5 racks. I'm not using the Homoxites today. I'm gonna try a different approach, have more bodies, more troops. Hopefully that works out for me. And then this squad, or the Dark Creed, I split up the Mandrakes and the Incubi, and so it's like 5 Mandrakes and 5 Incubi in each of the patrols because they're mercenaries. But either way, it works out to where there's at least 4 troop or infantry-based bodies in this patrol. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 Raiders to go with the Dark Creed patrol, and they all have Grizzly Trophies and they all have Chain Snares. So, and I really like the Chain Snares, just make these guys more useful when they get into combat, and mine tend to do that. Then my last patrol is going to be Prophets of Flesh. I've got Drazar thrown in there. Got the Homunculus with the Vexator Mask, so he's making you fight last within a 3-inch bubble of him. 2 squads of Racks. The ugly humpback dudes were Mandrakes that I kit bashed, and now they're Racks because I don't have enough. So 2 squads of 5. Then there's the 2 squads of 5 Incubi, and that is it. It's exactly 2,000 points. Should be a lot of fun. I feel like I have filled some gaps from yesterday. I feel like the previous list had a lot of grotesques, which were cool, but I don't think quite as useful as the extra Raiders. So we'll see today. We'll find out. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll be back in just a minute to show you the deployment zone, the map, and get the mission. All right, folks, we've done the deployments. We rolled up mission number 21. So, surround and destroy. There's an objective back there. There's this one here, this one here. The 2 in the center are like 20 inches apart from each other. The 2 in the corners, there is one under all that red. And then there's one back here, about 20 inches away from the center. So, it's kind of a fun little, I like it. It's an interesting layout. Deployment zones are 10 inches up. So I forward deployed Mandrakes and Mandrakes because he has a drop pod with some nasty stuff inside it. Then over on this side, I've got a Raider with the Razor Flails, 5 Witches, and some Racks. The Raider with Blood Brides and Triptych Whip. Raider with Dark Creed Homunculus, 5 Racks. Also, he is the target for, was it something of Sanguinius?
Blade of Sanguinius.
Blade of Sanguinius, the special secondary that Jared picked. He rolled for it because that's cool. So if he kills him with his Warlord and it's in melee, he gets a full 15 points, which I don't want to happen. That'll be sad. Over here, this is a boat that has the Vexator Mask, Incubi, and Wraps. This is an empty Raider. I don't know what to think about that. I've got Mandrakes up there, so there's no bubble. Basically what I did is there's a little pocket back here where he can land his drop pod and then shoot at nothing because everything over here is out of line of sight. And he could also land kind of in the center of the board, which I'm okay with because I should be able to charge into them and kill them fast if he does that. So that was kind of my thinking. It might not work out, but who knows? We'll see. We got Drazar, the Master of Blades, with his Incubi and some Racks here, some Hellions. Then I've got my Scourge hovering about in the airways, ready to drop in and do some shooting. Then, on this side of the board, here's the mass of fun. Redemptor, Warlord, Librarian, Contemptor, Impulsor. And this has Mephiston and the Blade Guard inside it. And then you've got the Death Company just right out in the open, sitting there. And Intercessors. Yes, that is it. Seriously, that's it. In reserve, we have Eradicators. In the drop pod, we have Devastators. And then we've got 2 squads of Sanguinary Guard and your Sanguinary Priest, which I always forget how to say. Yeah, so he's got as much in the air as he does on the table. So now it is time for the roll-off. And I don't know. Would you like to go first? I'm not
I
sure.
would.
You would,
I
wouldn't
would
you?
like to go first.
He rolled a mighty 3, folks. I'm gonna roll it in his box because it's cool and felty. Oh, I should not have rolled in his box. Okay, well there we go. So turn 1, Blood Angels, and I might live to regret that, and I might not. We'll be back after Blood Angels, turn 1. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was a good day to die if you were this raider. And he exploded. And here's the fun part. I spent 2 command points for him, which I thought were wasted because he did a singular wound on the librarian, who, I will point out, this is back here. This is my corner, right? Mr. Librarian flew over here, did Wings of Sanguinius, came over here, charged. Is magnificent. He avoided my Hellions, wise move. Came in, he charges the Raider, which was on 5 wounds. It took some beating from Psychic Smite. That's what it was. He smoked it. So anyways... Oh yeah, and his calming Melta that he has. So he did some damage there. So then... Oh yeah, right, because the Smite went on the Hellions and killed one. So he comes in, I interrupt combat. I do a singular wound to the Librarian. Well then he kills the Raider, and in its last act of revenge, it exploderized. Did 30 mortal wounds and popped Mr. Librarian. See, Jared gets the white skulls today. I'm taking the black skulls. So he did. I got assassinate points. I was magnificent. And Jared said, this is a suicide guy. And he was. So these guys get out. I actually lost 2 racks. They did not fail leadership. I have begun counting up. I lost a Hellion and a half, actually. So I need to make that go to 2. I forgot to change that. So there's 2 Hellions down out of this squad. Incubi and Drays are fine. This Raider was not in any protection. Took a lot of beatings and survived with a single wound, which I'm proud of. Go you. It's not necessarily going to do much, but that was the empty one. So if you're going to shoot the empty one, I'm happy. Then on this side, the golden-ish ugly Raider. I like to call it ugly because it has Mr. Homunculus in it. Took 5 wounds. Then this Raider took none. This one was also untouched, except that we had Mr. Death Company Blob charging in, and it charged only this Raider. They killed it. It did not explode, but I did lose 1 dude getting out. And there was just the 5 rats and the homunculus. So that wasn't horrible, and they'd done all their attacking. We hit back over here between the 2 raiders hitting back with chain snares. I killed 2, and that really came only from this raider. This one didn't really do anything. And with the Grizzly trophies, I was really excited, thinking, oh, I'm going to make these guys fail morale. It's going to be great. And Homeboy rolled a 1. That was neat. So that's this front. There's a lot of action that happened right there, naturally. Okay, so this was all ignored. And then my poor mandrakes. So these guys took a lot of bolter fire from these guys, right? 30 shots.
30 shots.
He fired twice. He killed 3. Yes, that's right.
Only.
In his first round of shooting with 15, he rolled, it had to have been like 10 1s and 2s, I think.
At least.
It was something absurd, and then only wounded with 2. And I saved 1. And then he shot again, killed, what, 2 more?
2 more.
Yeah, and then I failed morale, so I lost 1. And I'm still there with 1 mandrake. It was absurd. I'm so proud of him. I can't say the same for this squad of mandrakes over here, because they're gone. But yeah, it was wild. So really fun first turn. He very kindly gave me 3 points on Assassinate. I did forget to show y'all secondaries earlier when we started. So we both took Assassinate, both took Rod, which is Retrieve Octarius Data. I have Stranglehold, and he has Blade of Sanguinius, as was mentioned earlier. So his target for that blade is this guy. Oh, I did use Lightning Fast in melee to try and slow down the Death Company. It was probably a waste of points. I don't know. I felt like I should do something. And that is it. So I'm at 5 command points. Jared's at 3 command points. I'm about to get 1 for my turn. But that's an interesting turn. So that's our first turn for the Blood Angels. We'll be back with Drukhari turn 1 next. Alright, so the turn 1 for Drukhari is ended. This stuff here, we did some shuffling, clearly, staying outside the footprint of the building, so you can't shoot into this mess very easily. Hellions came over here to charge into these guys, the Death Company. They needed like a 5, and I rolled Snake Eyes. They were the last ones to charge too, so I think maybe they were mad at me because I made them wait so long. Who knows? This little boat with 1 whole wound moved at 6 inches, got to about here. Shot at him, missed, because he's kind of having a hard time seeing. And then I did the 2 command points to move him, so he's never stationary, and I moved him as far over that way as I could to kind of help screen for the drop pod again. potentially it'll help a little bit. Over here, we got some incubi out. Got the razor flail succubus out. She didn't even get to do anything because they died to the incubi. The homunculus and these rats embarked into the boat to take the place of the 5 incubi that got out. That's all we did there. So there's your little skull count. They did. These rats got out holding this objective, staying out of line of sight from anything on the board that direction. Of course, you could bring some toys down and mess with me there. This raider, with its blood brides and everybody, stayed inside, moved forward, and we spent the 1 command point for them to fall out of combat and still shoot. We'll say this is the one that actually hit the contemptor because I had the other raider, which is now down here, both shoot at that contemptor and only 1 shot got through. So we'll say it's this one. I feel better about that because I spent a command point. I did the maximum number of wounds, which he reduced by 1, so it took 5 wounds, down to 5 left. This little guy, with his 1 lonesome self, moved forward far enough into this zone to be able to do the rod action, retrieving Octaria's data, so he did that. My witches had disembarked from this, moved their full, whatever their movement was, 10 plus, or 8 plus the 3. This guy also moved up the full measure. He made his charge easily. They failed the first time, and I felt it worthwhile to re-roll and get them in, and it paid off because I was able to get them in. Otherwise, I would have been sitting in the middle of the board getting shot and killed, most likely. Now they're in combat. We killed 3 of the intercessors, and then because of Grizzly trophies, he lost 1 to leadership. And so 1 ran away, and there's 1 left. I have 2 witches left and a raider, so I took this point away over here as well. So it was... Do I wish the contemptor was dead? Yes. But you can only do what you can do. So that's where we end up for my turn. I did pick up the assassinate points earlier when the librarian exploded in my death. I got 2 points on rod. I got 3 points for stranglehold. And yeah, there it is. So we've got turn 2 coming up for Blood Angels, and there's lots of nastiness waiting to drop in on my head and ruin my plans. So we'll see what happens next. We'll be back for Blood Angels, turn 2. Well, the Blood Angels have come in on turn 2 and done some business. I have no raider over here. Nobody died getting out. Proud of them. I did explode. Took a wound on the Clavex. Took 3 on my succubus. I was very disappointed in that, so she's got a whole 2 wounds left. Back here, Sanguinary Guard came down in that corner. There was a pocket for them. I figured there was, but there's not much you can do about that. I lost 1 rat to their shooting. Mandrake was left alone. This was kind of sad. I knew the boat was going to die because you'll see why. He shot a lot of stuff. And then all of my Blood Brides died, but they took all of the shots except for the Drop Pod Stormbolter, which she couldn't save. 2 4-ups. She couldn't do it. And she's T5. I was like, come on, what? That's the only good drug she rolled was the T5. Because her other one was like +1 ballistic skill or something. It's like, that's sad. So here's what did it in. We got the drop pod. So you got a Devastator squad. We got Mr. Sanguinary Priest. We got Sanguinary Guard. They're all here being rude and shooting stuff. They didn't get to charge because I cleverly got out of my exploded transport in such a way as where they couldn't charge me. Yes, and she was far enough away to not get shot by certain things. I was very happy with that accident. Oh, and ironically, he shot them into the racks, but he forgot that his plan was to leave them to shoot into her, and so he kicked himself a little bit for that one. But that's okay. Over here, this raider, it done died, did not explode. These 2 witches, they died. They don't explode. I don't know why I was about to say that. That was a good one. Good talk. These guys are here. He shuffled around giving reroll 1s, which helped them a lot. Wisdom of the Ancients on him. Yeah, the Impulsor came back. It emptied out everybody around the corner. I guess I should film this way because I can. So these dudes actually performed Rod. So they did the retrieve Octaria's data for the first one, just barely squeezing into that table quarter, ironically. The whole 6 inches away from any table edge and quarter is pretty tricky. This boy stomped his way over, charged my 1 wound raider, killed it pretty handily, no surprise there. The real star of the show is no longer on the table.
He did more. He killed some Hellions and some others.
Oh yeah, fair enough. I forgot that they were dead. Actually, the poor guys didn't do anything. Like they did nothing. I completely forgot he melted them. He is also responsible for killing the raider, right? Yeah. So he did do work. I was just laughing at the mighty. These things hit really hard in combat, and so it had one wound to chew through. He did it. Not tricky. Over here, Mephiston. He jumped out of the impulsor, was on this side of the board, used, Wings of Sanguinius, came over here, made his mighty magnificent charge over here, and I rolled a 10 on my Tormentors. I was so excited. I was like, I shot him down, he fights last. Homeboy's got leadership 10. Ouch. You don't win if you tie, you only win if you exceed your opponent's leadership. So he hit first, everything went into Drezar. He also cast Quicken on himself, so he had another additional 2 attacks, so he hit a lot. Drezar only failed 1 save. What a boss. So he did take 3 wounds from that, and then he turned around and did 12 wounds to Mephiston. It was pretty brutal. That was only his 1 fight back, too. He didn't fight twice. That's it. So I picked up another 3 for Assassinate. We forgot to tell the story over here of the Incubi and their charge. So the Death Company needed a 4. They needed to only roll a 3 on the dice on that very first turn. And because they get a +1 to charge being Blood Angels, he rolled a 3. And we laughed. We're like, oh, that's really funny. So when my Incubi got out and got ready to charge, I made sure I was within 2 inches. And then Jared was like, oh, this would be great if you only roll a Snake Eyes and, almost fail your charge. I rolled Snake Eyes. It was magnificent. So the charges, doing exactly what we needed. We had a good chuckle. I don't know, maybe you don't chuckle. We chuckled. It was great. So that's it. I have no Raiders. Have no Blood Brides. And he's come in and he's put the hurt on some things. So I'm going to have to be sneaky and be careful and try not to die. And if I can stay alive long enough, I might hold out on points. But he's making it tricky. So we'll be back in just a moment for Drukhari turn 2. Yes, it's only turn 2. Yes, I have no Raiders. It's interesting. We'll be back shortly. Well, Drukhari turn 2 is over. I killed things I needed to kill. I might be set up to die instantly to shooting because he actually has a lot of firepower, but we'll see. These guys did the rod action, so I retrieved Octeria's data over here because I had too much confidence in my Triptych Whip. We'll talk about that in a minute. Drezar, the Incubi, Vexator Mask, so he couldn't overwatch me. Rax, we all charged in, and the Incubi very handily removed a Redemptor. He had taken a whole 2 wounds prior to that, and they just went straight 15 wounds. It was beautiful. Thank you, Drezar, the Master of Blades. This guy did a shuffle just trying to get where he's kind of lined up with the back of this building for line of sight purposes, and his racks and getting some, so you got to shoot through things. So it might keep him alive a little longer. My Incubi up here, they just went forward and advanced to get towards the middle. The Razor Flails gal, she's right there. Yeah, she rolled a mighty 1 on her advance, so she's probably not in a great spot, but I was trying to get towards the middle where all his nasty stuff is going to be coming anyways. Oh, Triptych Whip did a whole 2. Ooh, got 2. She wounds on 2s. She missed like 4, I think, to hit. She rolled a 4 ones, and then to wound, she did a bunch of, she did a fair number of wounds.
5 wounds.
Yeah,
that made really good
he
saves.
saved a lot. I was so sad. So now they're going to come over and delete these guys who were supposed to do Rod next, and that's my fault. Oh yeah, over here, my man Drake. He came over with mean intentions to do things to this guy. Didn't happen. He's also not objective secure, so I didn't take the point away. The Scourge came down over here. They shot blaster shots. Boo! Killed a... Oh yeah, we forgot the marker. We killed the Contemptor, finally dead, and only by 1 wound extra. It wasn't like overkill. And the Shard Carbine went into this guy, and the Bell Blast, Shard Carbine, nothing. Couldn't hurt him. Couldn't hit him in melee.
He's working on MVP, man.
He is. He's going for MVP. And then I failed the charge with Scourge, which that's a 9-inch charge. I wasn't really hoping, but it would have possibly helped. They're not great in melee either, so... It is what it is. If I had the command points, they would have done their little fly over here thing, but I didn't. So, yeah, that's where we end up. So he picks up 3 for assassinating my Triptych Whip gal who bounced. 4, we just talked about this. because she was the warlord. The warlord. He's got 2 for rod, and that's it. I did get the mighty 15 on my primary as well. So I have a lot of stuff that's gonna die. If I can get them to kill some of his things on the way, it'll be great. But right now, it's he's got a lot of bullets left, is what the problem is. And I don't have so many things for him to shoot at. So we'll be back after Blood Angels turn 3. Alright, the Blood Angels turn 3 has been mighty. I had hopes because the shooting phase didn't do all the things that he was wanting it to do. Didn't matter. These dudes came over here, and the homunculus was still alive with a single wound after being shot at by a lot of things. My racks were all dead. But he made them fight last. He didn't do really any wounds to them, might have hurt one guy. But then my incubi, he rolled a lot of saves. I did a bunch of wounds. He saved almost all of them. He only lost 2 blade guard. I assume they don't fail leadership, right? Because there's only 2 of them lost.
Is there any negatives?
No, there's no negatives. So yeah, it was that was a sad thing. So no more on this point. I had hoped the incubi would be able to take care of them, and I would still have the point. But alas, it is not so. These guys had come around the building over here, pumping shots that direction, then charged into the incubi here. I did not make them fight last, which was very bad. Homeboy charged my razor flail gal, and because he gets, what was it called? It's his first fight first thing. I don't remember what it's called for him.
It's called Speed of Sanguinius.
Speed of Sanguinius.
Something.
Speed of whatever. He fights first, she fights first, so because he charged, he gets to go first. So he killed her. I was very disappointed, but not shocked. Because he got a lot of attacks through. And then they just wiped out the incubi. Having the -4, putting it at your 6-up saves was pretty painful. So they're dead, she's dead. And then over here, these guys charged in, wiped out my racks. They're dead. These guys, I don't know, heavy weapon toting Blood Angels. I mean, granted, Scourge are not like wow for fighting or anything. But yeah, they wiped them out. My little mandrake back there, he got shot and died. So, all I have on the board, folks, is Drazar the Master of Blades. Is he enough? Not really. He's a lot, but he's not enough. I got my one dude that counts for points for his secondary, and then 4 racks. And 3 more racks. It's real bad. Like, that turn went from, alright, it's not the end of the world, to deleted. It was a disappointment. So, we'll be back in a minute for the Drukhari turn 3, and probably a summary after that. So we'll catch you in just a minute. Are you ready, folks? Turn 3's over. Guess what I did? I bravely ran away. Boldly. Anyways, good Monty Python song. Ran away as far as we could. He's shot. He rolled a 1 to wounds, because that's what the Hex Rifle does every time I use it. My Ossifactor took 2 wounds off of a Blade Guard. Then Drazar rolled a 10 on his charge, so he went 4 times around them, and then he slaughtered them. He did have to fight twice because of their stupid 4-up saves. It's amazing. But he did. He wiped them out. So I had some revenge, some justice, maybe. I guess very little. They killed his incubi friends. He killed them back. And now he'll die. It'll be glorious. It is the end of my turn 3, so it's the end of the battle round. I didn't score any points other than 5 for primary. And, yeah. Ironically, the score is basically tied right now. Sadly, everything I have will be dead at the end of the shooting and or fight phase. So, we'll be back in a minute with Blood Angels turn 4. Turn 4 is done for the Blood Angels. Look who's not dead. He charged him only. He did not charge them into him, because I still had a rack bubble around there, so it would have actually been a little tricky to get into him, which saved his bacon. He's got a whole wound, folks. One whole wound.
10 attacks.
So proud of him. 10 attacks, Mr. Teeth of Terra. I get extra attacks, business. That's my man. So he'll get his 15 points next turn. Yeah, that's all right. These guys are all here. It's terrifying. Those racks are dead. So surprising. these are still alive, which I'm shocked by. I actually fully expected a multi-charge, and he didn't. So there's something. The big skull there was Drazar. He tried to dance out of all the multi-melta, grab whatever it was, but that was a lot. These guys are performing the Rod retrieving Octarius data action, so good for them. And that was it. So his turn, he picked up 2 more for Rod, and he had 10 on primary. Interesting how I was able to keep him from getting 15 that turn. Yes, very spicy. That's not going to happen anymore. But that's okay. I still have 1 whole homunculus and 1 whole unit of Rax.
I believe in you.
And I have absolute confidence that I will score 5 points for primary. Yes! Called it. Okay, we'll be back in a second for, my turn 4. All right, here we go. It is Drukhari turn 4 has ended. Sorry, I don't know why I'm putting the screen way over there when there's nothing to see. Guess who's dead and guess who's not. With my 1 magnificent command point, I spent it immediately to fall back and charge, because Drukhari. I shot at him with a hex rifle. He still has not done any damage. It would have been nice, soften him up a little bit. I shot at these guys with my ossifactor, and he saved it, because why not? I made my charge. I did him a mortal wound with my Ichor injector. I love that thing. It's hilarious now. It's just almost automatic wound. And then I rolled my 5 scissor hand attacks, and I made 3 of them. And then I got 2 wounds through. 1 was a 6, 1 was a 4. So he died. So great. Now, here's what's so happy to me about this. It makes me so proud. I get 4 points for assassinating his warlord. That's nice, because that's the only other way I'm going to score points, aside from scoring 5 for those guys on the primary objective. The other big thing is Homeboy there was going to wreck him, and he was going to score 15 Blades of Sanguinius. If your warlord kills my selected character, I get to pick him, so I chose him for a reason.
It's my selected character, so it
right.
doesn't have to be warlord.
Right, it doesn't have to be, it was his selected character who was his warlord in this case. Charges and kills my selected character in melee, he just gets 15 points. It's super cool, but I denied him. I didn't think that was possible.
Taking my 15 down to 10.
Man, it's glorious. So anyways, that's so I'm super excited about that. I'm proud of myself. And this is something, I was going to mention this earlier. I totally forgot. This is a huge mistake on my part, and I've been kicking myself for the last 2 turns. These dudes were over here, and I charged them with my Triptych Whip Bearings Master Succubus. She hit and only killed 2. She has the Master Succubus fall out of combat and move 6 inches in any direction and not get instant killed by them. And then he would have actually had to choose. If he chased her down, if he came over here for the objective, it might have not made any difference in the long run. He could have, easily just shot her and she died and charged over here anyways. But the fact that I did that made me so sad. I'm so sad. So all of you out there yelling at the screen, telling me, why didn't you run away? That's why. Because I forgot. So we'll come back. I'm making Jared play. Turn 5. Unfortunately, he will still get 15 for primary, so it probably doesn't matter. But he's not going to have 30.
Nope.
Got him.
Just 25.
Yeah, just 25. Yeah, it's great. Anyways, so that's my fun. That was the end of the Drukhari. Turn 4, battle round 4, going into Blood Angels, turn 5. All right, so what we decided to do here, it's battle round 5. I think they might kill him. I think they would die, not from him, but from this. Devastators with all the grab cannons, all the shooting, and then him with all his attacks. So it would have been nasty. So we didn't bother to roll dice for that. We had a really good time playing this game. We got down to the score being 55 to 83, and it was an absolute hoot. Bravo, Jared. Blood Angels whooped me. I have not had a lot of luck against the Blood Angels with my Drukhari lately. Even in 9th edition, folks, it happens. I have realized I think it would make a lot more sense for me to go back to having a Cabal and a Coven and some Witches. I've played enough games now to feel like that's probably the best balance. I don't know if it's a real space raid or not, but that's what we'll do. And MVP-wise, We joked about it being, oh boy, in the corner. He had that one intercessor. He picked him up, but it's okay. That guy, he sat there. He stayed alive. He scored him a lot of points. It could have been him, but in reality, this dude, the Sanguinary Priest, did a lot more.
He was a tool, man.
He buffed a lot. He killed the Razorflail Succubus. He helped with rerolls on charges and really clutch moments. And does he give another reroll besides that? He didn't actually have to heal anyone. That's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was kind of a monster. He really helped out. The other characters, he fed them to me and I picked them up. That guy I didn't even touch. So it was a lot of fun. I will have to give it to Mr. Homunculus, who did not die when he was supposed to. So thank you, sir. Thank you for being a pain in the rear. That's been a really fun game, really good time. Thank you, Jared, for joining us and providing some entertainment, even if it feels so one-sided at the end. Look at all the stuff he has left. It was brutal. But that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It's been another Kitchen Table Wargaming Battle Report.